Einstein.
My doc sent me a note. He said stop smoking.
Yeah.
I rolled it and smoked it.
Smoked the note.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Hello. Good evening on a Thursday night in chilly New York. Only going to get chillier. But it's all right. Tis the season for being so chilly that you just want to wrap yourself up into a human cocoon and say, I'm not coming out for another 4 months. Now leave me alone. Anyway, it's nice and warm in here because, of course, the space heater's been going since 2 o'clock. And also, I got into the studio and I was able to, not only did I leave the GETTR hat on the lava lamp from when I left last night so that it would be on the entire time. Usually I call up Anthony. I said, hey, can you go in the other room and put the GETTR hat on the lava lamp? He's like, oh, all right. I said, it's the only way. So I guess I'll do this. I didn't want to put it on there already hot because I didn't want it to burn down. But then I realized, oh, it never really gets that hot. So to hell with it. So that's my little system now. And look, it's 7 o'clock and I've got a perfectly flowing lava lamp right in front of you, right in front of your eyes. Other than that, we're gonna have a good time tonight. We have a guest that was rescheduled, who has to be rescheduled again. Dr. Albert Taylor is not feeling too well, so we'll find him a time in February or something like that. We'll figure it out. And tonight, it's going to be you, me, a mishmash of topics and articles and things I pulled from all over, and I'm really excited to talk about all of them. And I'd like to sprinkle in your calls in between. And you know why? Because last night, I really, really appreciated you. You guys showed up in my time of need. It's very, very rare that a show format, with a guest, things just start getting flipped. The guest doesn't show up in the first half. They show up sometime in the second. There's a time zone difference, whatever the hell happens. And last night, to compound all that, I had no media to fall back on, no breaks I can go to, nothing to be able to just like stem the tide and stopgap measures and all that. But you know who did show up? You guys. Thank you for that. I really, really loved the calls last night. That was the true nature of open lines. And I would like to sprinkle in all of your calls tonight because there's going to be plenty for you to comment on, and I'm just going to serve it up nice and greasy for you. How's that sound? All right, so welcome, you greasy bastards. It is the 16th day of January, and I am looking forward to a little bit of chit-chat. Here's the first one from the forum. I want to just let you guys know that we have another week that we are compiling things for the first week of February publishing of the Quite Frankly Bulletin, and we would really, really like to get all Quite Frankly couples in on this. You go to quitefrankly.tv, you go to the navigation bar up top, you'll see forum, click that. Pinned to the top of the forum is a thread that is called Calling All Frankly Couples, Share Your Photos and Love Stories. And this is what the editors want. For the February issue of the Quite Frankly Bulletin, please share with us your couple photos and love stories. We want to hear about how you met, how you fell in love, what makes your relationship unique, and how you maintain a special marriage. Tips on a healthy partnership, favorite memories, tell us all about it. It tells you exactly what we need, some names, some locations, nothing too intimate. And other than that, we'd love to feature you in the next bulletin. It's going to be nice. And I have to get Lauren. When is Valentine's Day? It was Ash Wednesday last year. Valentine's Day is a Friday the 14th. What do I do? Do I bring Aurora and Lauren in here for an earlier show like we did last year? We did a little bit of an earlier show so I can take them to dinner at an acceptable time. Is Aurora old enough to go to dinner late so we can start at 7 and just go for an hour until 8? I'm starting to rhyme now. a poet, and I didn't know it. I'll figure it out. But, it is customary for me to bring Lauren in here to do a little something. And I was thinking we can do Valentine's Day song countdowns, especially the ones that are about bad Valentine's Day. Like one of my favorite Valentine's Day songs is The Dream is Dead by Typo Negative. The dream is dead. I love that song. It's about Valentine's Day, a lonely Valentine's Day. So, I don't know, a little bit of a mix. We'll figure that all out. Anyway, I'd love to have your input on the bulletin, so please go and do that. I think there's only one other thing to do, and that is this grab bag story. And then we're going to jump into everything, because honestly, the rest of the show is like a grab bag, so I don't want to spend too much time dividing it up for no reason. So here he is. I thought this was an interesting twist to the Jeffrey Epstein saga. This is from DNews.com. Jeffrey Epstein's estate got a $112 million tax refund. I had to read this. A friend of mine sent it to me. I said, what? I just want to know about the refund here. He's still making money, this guy. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing, Susan? Jeffrey Epstein's once vast estate, art, jewelry, lavish properties, people, was meant to be drained by settlements to his many sexual abuse victims and payments to resolve other legal claims. But now it appears that two of his most loyal business associates, who are serving as executors of his estate, stand in line to potentially reap a big benefit. At one point, one of those executors predicted the estate would shrink to less than $40 million from its original $600 million once all the payments were made. But after a $111.6 million tax refund from the IRS last fall, the estate's assets have swelled to $145 million, a probate court filing in the U.S. Virgin Islands shows. And with most large claims against the estate having been settled, that newfound cash isn't likely to make its way to victims of the disgraced financier. It's one way of calling it. Hey, listen, it's DNews.com. They're not going to label this what it is. Instead, some of his assets could be distributed to the co-executors along with other beneficiaries chosen by Mr. Epstein before his death, most of whose identities remain largely shrouded in secrecy, except for that one guy who was Bill Gates' science advisor or something like that. You remember? He was a backup executor, and he's like, oh, I don't know him. Yeah, I know. People usually name people that they don't know executors to their estate. He's another MIT guy. Bruno? What was his name? I forget. Anyway, is that what happens there? Executors of estates, they get. I'm an executor of an estate. Now, there's nowhere near this much money in there. I'm like paying stupid shit. But I don't know. It's all Chinese to me. Anyway, that's all I have for the opening, because the rest of the show is much like that. Make sure you have your pad of paper, your pen, write down your thoughts, anything. Don't let it escape you, because I want your calls to come on into all this stuff. Other sad news we got to talk about in a second. David Lynch and Bob Uecker, two legends in their own right, died. 78 and 90, respectively. And these things comes in threes. That's the first thing I'm thinking. Anybody else think that? Holding my breath. Who's the third? Oh no. Anyway, we'll get to that and all the rest of it on the other side of the intro. So please share the show far and wide. Bring everybody you know on into it, whether you're watching live or on demand. And we're going to be back in a flash. Thank you so much for the attention.
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it! I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
You let
one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's roll!
Yeah. Well, whatever we have of Twin Peaks is what we're going to have. You can always read the books. I really have to read those books front to back. Lauren got me all those books, and I have David Lynch's photography book as well. Really great. Wonderful vision. Very interesting guy. Even if you don't, and it's hard to get into a lot of his stuff. Took me a little while to start. And there's still some things that I just can't do. But other than that, man, legends. The owls are not what they seem. Here's a little bit on that. David Lynch dies. Twin Peaks. Blue Velvet. Elephant Man. Eraserhead. Lost Highway. Visionary was 78 years old. One of Hollywood's worst weeks and years just got worse. David Lynch, the 4-time Oscar-nominated filmmaker, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead, Wild at Heart, The Elephant Man, and others, who also created the Showtime drama Twin Peaks, has died. He was 78 years old. Now, I've been following him on social media for years now. I mean, every once in a while, he would put out a music video or something like that, because he liked dabbling in music. But for the most part, I've been getting my weather reports from David Lynch for years. He was uploading 16 to 25 second videos to his YouTube for God knows how long. I don't know when he stopped doing it. Just giving the weather report from wherever he was living. I think it was Los Angeles. So you get a little bit of a report on the June gloom, what the high was going to be, what the low was going to be, how the cloud cover was, and all that stuff. And that's it. So I was getting my weather on the West Coast weather report from David Lynch for a while, because, of course, that's the most we could have gotten. But there is a little message here. And I followed him on Twitter as well. And he put this out in August of 2024. And I just want to put it out because it's good for everybody to know what's up here. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I have emphysema from many, many years of smoking. I have to say that I enjoyed smoking very much, and I do love tobacco, the smell of it, lighting cigarettes on fire, smoking them. But there is a price to pay for this enjoyment, and the price for me is emphysema. I have now quit smoking for over 2 years. Recently, I had many tests, and the good news is that I am in excellent shape except for emphysema. I am filled with happiness, and I will never retire. I want you all to know that I really appreciate your concern. Love, David. And come January this year, he's gone. So I don't know what accelerated it all, but emphysema is enough in and of itself. And kids don't smoke cigarettes. I know. Every once in a while you see Uncle Frank pack a hookah over here, but that is a very special occasion. Okay? And every once in a while, a celebratory cigar. A celebratory guitar as well. I smoke those from time to time. But listen, there's something different about walking around and chain smoking. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Try not to. Avoid it at all costs, please. And then we have this. I got to say, one last thing over here, then we move on to another. And that is to those of you in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Brewers fans, wherever you live in this country or around the world, let me please pass along my deepest condolences for the loss of Bob Uecker. Dead at 90 years old. Essentially worked till the end. One of the funniest, smartest out there. Absolute legend. And you were all very lucky to listen to him on a nightly basis for so many decades. You really were. Bob Uecker didn't have to stretch much to play quick-witted broadcaster Harry Doyle for the movie Major League. I might even slip Major League 1 and 2 into the itinerary for the weekend. Milwaukee Brewers fans happily listened to that act for more than 50 years. I think it was 54 years that he was broadcasting, right up to the end. Uecker, whose humor made him a celebrity far outside the baseball world, died Thursday at 90 years old. The Brewers announced. The Uecker family said in a statement that he had been battling small cell lung cancer since early 2023, and he was a play-by-play voice of the Milwaukee Brewers dating back to 1971. So, I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible, and buon anima. So there you have it. There's some things on top of all the other stuff. You know, there was another person who said goodbye within the last 24 hours, but very few people gave a shit, and that's Joe Biden. Let's talk about that guy, because I have a short set of highlights here from the Vigilant Fox. If it weren't for that, I would not be talking about this at all, because it just doesn't matter to me. Joe Biden struggles to stay awake and farewell to the nation, a farewell to remember for all the wrong reasons. A thread by the Vigilant Fox. Biden, often called the worst president in history, just delivered a 17-minute long farewell to America, with Trump set to take office just 4 days later. In the last-ditch attempt to rewrite history, he brazenly claimed credit for the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, which, whatever you think about that out there, it's pathetic. It really is pathetic to see this, and for having everybody else, including Biden's State Department, come out and say that it was absolutely instrumental for Trump to be involved in the shooting to stop. So it's just so pathetic to be grasping at any straw you can to say, I was worth it, and I was legitimate, and I was effective, and I was not effete.
Speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year.
Which didn't mean anything. Which did not mean anything, obviously, because depending on who was going to win in November, anything that happened until November was nonsense. And then there was the last couple of weeks, getting ready for transition. You know, the crazy thing is, it's almost like a reverse. Well, something similar to that happened, especially with the State Department kind of coming out and playing not the role of anything, but just being something of like a contrary opinion to the facts at hand. For example, back in December of 2016, when they already started up with the Russian the Russian interference thing, when Michael Flynn or somebody on the Trump transition team was reaching out to, who was it, Kislyak? Some Russian diplomat. The election had been won by Trump, and now the transition was beginning, and they were reaching out to people from foreign nations, and they were starting to get everything in line for their assuming office and all that stuff. And people were starting to say, this is interference and the Logan Act and all that shit. Like, he already won the election. He's getting his ducks in a row. They reached that. This is what they were starting, remember. And one of the, I don't know, I think this is the last address to the press at the State Department in 2016 or early 2017 that addressed that very same thing. That there's communication between the Trump administration or the incoming Trump administration and the Russian ambassadors and all that stuff. And the State Department was so, blasé about that. They didn't say, okay, well, if they needed our assistance with contacting them, we'd be happy to help. It's a transition. So once again, they're like, could I have one accomplishment before I get swept out of here? So pathetic. And the State Department, again, coming on into BTFO, everybody, and saying it would be untenable without Donald Trump's, presence in the negotiation. This wasn't some courtesy that was paid by Biden to Trump. It was untenable without Trump. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. Biden took in a long inhale, blinking heavily as he struggled to stay awake, attempting to portray himself as a statesman whistleblower akin to President Dwight Eisenhower, warning about the military-industrial complex. But he said that it is the tech-industrial. Is he serious? Tech-industrial complex? He really tried to give himself an Eisenhower moment? Oh, somebody wrote it for him.
You know, his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers.
He actually referenced Eisenhower. Oh, man. This is like watching somebody Photoshop something in real time.
President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote.
It's just so ironic, right? Given that this guy did not win the 2020 election. Think about the powers that made this farewell even possible.
6 decades later, I'm equally concerned about the potential rise.
Okay, right? Me, I am too. 6 dick licks later. All right, here we go. Biden lamented that the free press, referring to the corrupt legacy media, was crumbling, along with social media platforms like Facebook abandoning fact-checking. He warned that the avalanche of mis and disinformation, there should only be one brand of mis and disinformation, the state's brand. Can you imagine saying the free press is crumbling because more people have a seat at the table?
I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power.
We're getting buried under debt, taxation. Most people don't give a shit about what's going on in the news. You know, we're a little bit more invested, so we're having, it's always that. People like me are having more fights with people, activist types who are on the other side. I mean, that's it, but still, that's just like the top third of everything. So no, people are not out there getting buried in one thing or another. They're really trying to just save, and they're trying to do more for their families without having to take on second and third jobs, and that's what really matters. You know, the bill, the grocery bill at Piggly Wiggly. That's okay. That's what matter to people. Piggly Wiggly, Food Lion, the AMP, Food Emporium, Stop and Shop.
Free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies.
Good.
Told for power and for profit.
Good. I can't wait. I love profiting off of lies. That's my whole business model, is profiting off of lies. Thank you for making it happen. Whoever I should thank. Is it Trump? Thank you. Thank you. This is a wonderful business to be in. Lying for profit. It's great. I'm happy. Good. Just get the hell out of here. Let's see. After this is what I'm saying. Like, this is all going on right now. For anybody to say that there are people who are outraged that Michelle Obama is not showing up to the inauguration, I don't care if Ronald McDonald shows up to the inauguration. It doesn't matter. This is hilarious, and I have to imagine it's the same for you. Do you care?
We need to enact an 18-year term limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme.
What is he saying? Hold on. After being pushed, I have to read the captions by Vigilant Fox because this man he can't even speak anymore. After being pushed out by the race by Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and Chuck Schumer, Biden sought revenge by doubling down on his call to ban Congress members from trading stocks. Okay. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stocks while they are in Congress.
We need to enact an 18-year term limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to.
I'm down with that. If he had said that 4 years ago, he'd already be dead. Doesn't matter now. He's just like farting as he's as he's walking out the door. He's like he's crop dusting the room right now. He's just farting as he's walking, letting it all hang out. But if he had said that 4 years ago, he'd already be dead. In his final words, Biden thanked the American people after 50 years of public service, urging them to stand guard and be keepers of the flame. Fittingly, the broadcast ended with a long beeping sound, symbolizing the death of the Biden presidency. Good riddance. Let's see.
My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word. I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions
Nope.
and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you keep the faith. I love America. You love it too. God bless you all. And may God protect our troops. Thank you for this great honor.
May God protect her tooth? Wait, what did he say about a tooth?
May God protect our troops.
May God protect her tooth. Is America just like a one tooth kind of broad? Is this like are we talking about like a crack smile? What does God protect her tooth mean? Is he trying to say her troops?
You love it too. God bless you all. And may God protect our troops. Thank you for this great honor.
All right. Where's the beeping? Oh, how nice.
What the fuck was he talking about?
I don't know. It was something very important, though. Something about a tooth. God save her tooth. All right, let's see here. Move on to the next thing. Okay, so here's one thing I wanted to throw out. 7:25, we're making good time. And then we're going to start bringing you guys. I want to do the James O'Keefe thing. There's been another Linguini sting, and it's going to be, this one is just incredible. It's no less serious, but this one just made me, I just belly laughed with this one. But here's the first thing, since, that's the guy going out. This is the guy coming in. Here's from NBC. Here are 11 things Trump has promised to carry out on day one of his presidency. Immigration. Begin a mass deportation program. As he did during his previous campaigns, Trump made immigration centerpiece. Now, day one, oh man, let the dogs free. Ending birthright citizenship. Anyone who's born in the U.S. is automatically granted citizenship, a right laid out in the 14th Amendment. Is it really, though? Trump wants to change it, a logistically difficult operation that would almost certainly lead to legal battles. In a December interview on NBC News, Meet the Press, moderator Kristen Welker asked Trump whether it was still his plan to end birthright citizenship on day one, and he said absolutely. Good. Because it doesn't exist. Not in a constitutional sense. Maybe in some legalese bullshit, because we've been hijacked by lawyers. And end Biden-era border policies. That Title 42 thing. He's issued a broad pushback to Joe Biden's immigration policies, vowing to use his first day in office to terminate every open border policy of the Biden administration. And then on democracy, he's going to pardon. This is the big one. Pardoning January 6 defendants, and to what end? On numerous occasions, Trump has said that he would quickly pardon people convicted for their role in January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. When NBC News Welker asked Trump in December about his timeline for pardons, he said, "I'm looking first day." First day. I remember him saying that. He went further in an interview with the Time magazine published last month, saying, "I'll be looking at J6 early on, maybe the first 9 minutes." In a January press conference, Trump was asked if he was looking to pardon January 6 defendants who were charged with violent crimes. He says, "We're looking at it," adding that he intended to make major pardons. Listen, when you talk about violent crimes, if we're talking about pushing on a barrier against a cop or whatever the hell else, thinking about where all the real death came from, in what direction it went, and who and by whom. If it's broken windows, if it's property damage, I mean, we're talking 4 years already. We're talking incredible detention, conditions. We were able to talk with somebody who was awaiting sentencing, and had not been able to get access to him. I hope that we can get him back on the show again. But I can't imagine that even the worst offender, what could it possibly be if all the murder that was committed was being done by the feds? What could it possibly be? And what would time served say? It's not worth decades, that's for damn sure. So I hope that nearly everybody is out. And if there's somebody who just did something too egregious and 4 years wasn't enough, can we just send them the bill for the door, the magnetic doors that were open from the inside? Anyway, so we'll see what happens. First 9 minutes, that should be pretty interesting. Let's see. Foreign policy. Oh, wait, hold on. No, that's just more from the last section. Foreign policy, ending the war in Ukraine. One of Trump's most audacious promises was that he could end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of taking office or even before. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I'll get it settled before I even become president, Trump said during a September debate with Vice President Kamala Harris in Philadelphia. I know Ukrainian President Zelensky very well, and I know Russian President Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president. Okay, they respect me. They don't respect Biden, he said. During remarks to the press in Mar-a-Lago in January, Trump was asked when he plans to meet with Putin to discuss the end of the Ukraine war. He said it would be inappropriate to hold meetings ahead of his January 20th inauguration. I think they wanted him to say, I'm going to do that tomorrow, so that they can start huffing and puffing about the Logan Act again. Let's see here. The economy. Implement tariffs. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate. Very nice. In 2021, Biden signed an order saying nationwide goal for 50% of new cars and trucks sold by 2030 to be zero emissions. Good. Very nice. Drills, another one. One of Trump's most frequent promises, repeated in almost every campaign speech, is the commitment to increase oil drilling in the United States. In a town hall interview with the Fox News host Sean Hannity in December, Trump said that he would not be a dictator except for day one, clarifying that he intends to use that authority to close the border and drill on his first day in office. Trump has routinely claimed increasing U.S. oil production would drastically reduce energy costs. He has routinely claimed, or is it just common sense that if we take advantage of our own resources instead of going and buying from people thousands of miles away, what are we dealing with here? Made in America auto industry, transgender rights, limit participation in women's sport, ban, bar, and then end gender affirming care practices. That's the last of them here. He has also frequently railed against gender-affirming care, which can include hormone therapy. During the Biden administration, the White House had provided resources and guidance to ensure accessibility and information about care options. There is no gender-affirming care. That's a lie. So it's torture options. It's mutilation options. So why not make... female genital mutilation, female circumcision nationwide then, because it's mutilation and it's cruel. Anyway, so there is one going, and here's another one coming, and then here's something else. This is the James O'Keefe thing I want to throw out there. It's 7:32. After a couple of comments on this, we're going to start taking your calls, and then we're just going to rock on that for a while. Have some fun stuff in the second half, and then that'll be it for tonight. See what goes on. All right, so here's the latest from James O'Keefe. Are you ready for this? Here is the caption that he published on Instagram. Then we'll watch a little bit of the video. Top Pentagon advisor reveals on hidden camera conversation, quote, with a couple of retired generals to explore what we can do to protect the people from Trump. So talking about another coup. Now, is he just trying to get laid? Does he actually have that kind of influence? I don't know. Confirms secret meetings regarding AI. So that's sensitive information. We're going to have to keep it between us. I've been in conversation with a couple of retired generals to explore what we can do. That's another quote from the guy's name is Jamie Menina, advisor to the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon, former FBI special agent and self-proclaimed spy hunter. All right? He says he's somewhat of a spy hunter. disclosed to an undercover OMG journalist, that's O'Keefe Media Group, his plans to utilize irregular strategies to undermine Donald Trump's presidency. Menina also described his ghostwriting with the 501c3 advocacy, or C4, advocacy organization, National Security Leaders for America, saying, quote, "What we were doing was we were trying to explain to the American people the national security consequences of another Trump presidency." He elaborated on his recent activities, saying, quote, "Since the spring, I was working with these retired generals, retired ambassadors," adding, quote, "They're like 1, 2, 3-star generals and admirals. You probably know maybe 4 stars. He acknowledged the organization's ultimate goal, emphasizing this organization tried to defeat Donald Trump. Just really, really, really special. Another Linguini sting by way of James O'Keefe. Take a listen to a little bit of this. It's just incredible. You know why? Because the claims, of course, whether it be this or whether it be the HHS whistleblowers, I mean, there's been unbelievable testimony that's been laid down over the last however many years. And if there was any semblance of integrity at the DOJ, then much of this would be looked into, because this is actual journalism that's being done. And in journalism, honest journalism, you want to talk about the free press, that's supposed to hold power in place. That's supposed to hold people accountable in places like the White House, who are upset that the press is becoming freer. I wonder why. Because when the press is not free, they are able to do whatever the hell they want. But of course, they'll call the not free press the free press. It's all just inversion, of course. But take a listen to this, because the real thing is he's a spy hunter, he says, and it's such a laugh.
Work at this top consulting firm, and my client is the Pentagon. So I'm embedded in the Pentagon. I work in the Joint Staff, which is the top military command. Once you lost, I went into the intelligence community and I became an FBI special agent. So I became a spy hunter. So I was a counterintelligence agent, special agent at the FBI.
What's your overall assessment of Trump?
He's a sociopathic narcissist who is only interested in advancing his name, his wealth, and his fame.
Is there anything you can do to protect American people from stuff that he might try to do?
I'm in conversation with a couple of retired generals to try to explore what we can do.
Who were the retired generals that you were going to talk to?
They're like 1, 2, or 3.
She just said, who are the retired generals? Now she's asking for names. Now this is why I'm saying he probably has not gotten laid in a while. I don't know what. I mean, he's hungry here, and not just for the linguini. But I mean, it's only a half laughing matter, I should say, because just think about how seriously idiotic this guy is, or maybe just all of his spy hunting skills were just, he left it home. I'm not a spy hunter when I'm in this restaurant. No, this is just me letting my hair down. Does this seem like a date? Is it a date? Or, I mean, maybe it's not a date. Perhaps there's another reason why he is literally getting debriefed by this girl, and he's not able to put 2 and 2 together. There's no actual. It sounds like he's on an interview. She's gotten to the point where she's asking for the names of the generals who are willing to help him in his plot to save the country from Trump. A spy hunter is willing to. It's just like flowing out of his mouth. It's just so silly. It's so silly. I mean, it's just nuts. And he obliges. I don't know if he gives names, but he starts going into the 1, 2, 3-star general thing.
3-star generals and admirals. You probably know maybe 4 stars. So I also have a big day tomorrow. Probably the biggest day of all. So we have this huge meeting.
It's big. It's a big day. And it's a huge meeting. When I tell you big, I mean gargantuan. Do you understand what I'm saying, sweetie? Tomorrow is going to be a gargantuan day, not only for me, but for this whole damn fucking country. You have no clue. You need me. He's trying to. I don't know. It's it's so funny. But at the same time, these are the people, I guess the average person that makes up these vaunted institutions that we're always hearing about. So yeah, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, there are movers and shakers. There are planners. There are the central planners, and the planners are always planning out there. But there's just Jamie Menina. There's also a lot of Jamie Meninas. And that's another reason why it all just has to go away. This guy is just a scum sucker. Look at that. Willing to take on any skeevy position. He, obviously up until this point enjoyed being in the shadows, and now we're looking at his face and talking about his name, and we're watching him with his really weak attempts to get laid, and it must be embarrassing on top of the fact that you exist to undermine whatever the hell kind of democracy you think this is. So that's just incredible. Anyway, I want to hear from you. It's 914-200-0269, 914-200-0269. You guys showed up in my time of need last night and filled in the whole first hour with wonderful calls. And I want to just open up the lines. And, I just gave you some topics. There'll be more topics later on. But even if you just want to call in to say hello, 914-200-0269. I will be right back in a second, giving you some time to fire up those phones.
Quite frankly, contributed to the death of 7 million people because of the funding of gain-of-function experiments in the Wuhan lab.
All right, maybe I wasn't the greatest player of all time, but fans, they forgive and forget. When I go in here, they'll be buying me my favorite beer, light beer from Miller. You, Bob Uecker? Yeah, how you doing? These fans, I love them. They know us ex-big leaguers drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Well, can't keep the gang waiting. The fans are always joking.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Wow, they're having a good time in there.
134 square miles of thick, dry chaparral and oak, all within the city boundaries of Los Angeles, classed by experts as the fastest burning ground cover in the Western Hemisphere. The fire, starting from its point of origin north of Mulholland on Stone Canyon, spreads out along canyon walls in 3 directions. Flames begin spreading at the rate of 13 acres per minute.
We've got a report of 4 people trapped on foot between Chelan and Roscommare. We need help from the police department.
Send an ambulance to 2025 Stradella Road.
How can a modern water system properly designed to meet emergency fire conditions fail to function? 484 times, fire proved its deadly efficiency by incinerating in a few roaring minutes what families had taken years to acquire.
Howdy, friend. You looking for a message board? Go to quitefrankly.tv and enter the forum. Engage with official show topic threads or start your own thread. Get signed up. It's that easy. And it's not Reddit, so don't sweat it. For the forum and so much more, it's quitefrankly.tv. Yeehaw.
Because, it's definitely bold. I'd just like to see some kind of law enforcement agency with a little bit of balls and some integrity take up the lead. It's a pretty great lead, if you ask me.
Well, you just kind of led into why I was calling. I think, it's guys like O'Keefe Media Group and you getting this word out there. I think there needs to be some vigilante Doc Holliday type of justice because our Department of Justice is not doing the job.
Well,
like during the border crossings, when millions of military age coming across the border, I was thinking, where is that one Texan who's out there saying, I have one life to give for liberty, who would just blow the head off of the first military age man who put one foot across the southern border and said, this is stopping here right now. And that word would have traveled fast, and those millions of military age would have said, hey, there's one crazy Texan out there in the wilderness willing to put a stop to this.
Just one guy against I don't know, armies from 700 countries. You know, it's one of those things, man. We over the course of years doing this show, the whole, you know, where does vigilantism have a home in the world, especially, you know, is it when we are completely out of options, you know, and when is that day that we are completely out of options, that we know that there's nobody coming to rescue us, or there's no authority that we can put our trust in that is going to actually take this up and make some wrongs right. I would have to imagine that we should wait, and at this point, with what we have starting in 4 days, we should at least wait and see a couple of months to see if there is going to be considerable changes in the way that the DOJ operates. And if there's anything, again, the big question is always permanence. Is there any way that any change could be made permanent? So I understand your thoughts there, man, and hopefully there's somebody that can.
Yeah, and it's definitely a hot-headed thought, and I've always been that way.
Exactly.
And thank God, I guess nobody did that, because in a few days we may have the rule of law return, and we get to do it peacefully.
Well, you know, the other thing is, it's not only that, it's just that if somebody went out there and did it, they would be so quickly labeled, and thank you for the call, labeled as the lone wolf nut that went out there and murdered a foreign national, and maybe it becomes an international tension point. Everybody denounces them. Then, of course, it makes the entire anti-illegal immigration movement seem like it's being represented by one violent, bloodthirsty guy. And that is not to say that people who live in border towns that are having all types of strangers walk through their backyard don't have a claim to say that they feel threatened, that non-citizens are essentially on an invasion trek, are in their backyards, are eating their crops, are killing their animals, or whatever the hell it is, that they don't have a right to defend themselves. I never, ever stand in the way of somebody's right to defend themselves, especially on their property. But yeah, I would hope that we take a little bit more of a military. We were talking about this at 4 o'clock today with Zach and Adel. Would you support military intervention with the cartels we were talking about? And I believe when I put my 2 cents in, I said, well, if there was ever some sort of a declaration of war, a real declaration of war, that would have to be done by a Congress in a legitimate way, alongside of the whatever you can call the legitimate aspects of the Mexican government as well, because they would have to assist in that and allowing us to carry out military operations in their territory. Aside from that, I am totally all for militarizing the border until all of our internal situation is up, especially all of the financial reasons for people to come here. See, that's the whole thing. If the incentives are killed, then most of your border security is taken care of. And I'm not only talking about starving the states of block grant money that is turned into any kind of special housing that's turned into food and baby diapers and education for anybody that comes over the border to avoid ports of entry, to avoid following the law. They can call them the asylum seekers all they want. They're coming from all over the world and choosing to arrive here. They're not just running to the next door of their neighbors and knocking on it and asking for help. It's so fucking bullshit. Please. But the other aspect there, too, is that even our domestic drug policies have given Mexican cartels fangs and those gangs fangs, just like every other aspect of American history where there was some form of prohibition. It usually ended up where normal people who are responsible with the way, they're following the law, and they're trying not to drink anything or whatever the hell else, and then everybody else is engaged in a very lucrative and sometimes deadly black market that has popped up because of your prohibition. The same thing's happening with the war on drugs over here. So I always think that it's not just about getting a gun on the border and saying turn back. If you just choke off all the reasons why a person would come in the first place, then that's it. That's a big help. Then you don't need that many resources. I still think all of our troops in Europe and in the Korean Peninsula have to come home. That also happened. We have to close down military bases around the world, no doubt about it. But we don't even need guns that much. People just need to know that the gravy train is done, and then let Tom Homan do the rest. All right, let's take a call. 517, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Mark from Michigan.
Mark,
excellent program. Keep up doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Mark. What are you up to tonight?
Well, don't mean to bother you too long here, but number one, the video with the guy being interviewed, the surreptitious interview. You got to remember something. I used to work as a 94B intel analyst. Okay, I worked around Washington at different times. The closer you get to the center of Washington, the bigger the yes man. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
You don't get a job unless you are good at, number one, shutting up and following orders, and you got to be a good yes man. It doesn't mean you're the brightest light bulb in the box.
Well, I think that's definitely...
Okay. The other problem, sex is the norm. Okay, pedophilia and sex is the norm. I'll never forget, first time I went to Washington, 1975, I was in the Sheraton. It was a national intel conference that I was at. In the middle of the classified as restricted area, using the bathroom, stand at a urinal. This guy with a greasy outfit, looks like Aqualung from the old Jethro Tull album, is walking along and he's putting business cards down with naked women with places to go and people to see. Now, he had to get into the building, but everybody in that he lay it next to all the urinals and at all the sinks, and then he just walk out. Now, that's a honeypot operation. They had hundreds. There's dozens of them. Washington, D.C. is completely wired up, has been for 40, 50 years. The places you think are safe aren't. Everything's videotaped. It is. It's all a police state operation. This guy should know it and does. But, like you said, he was hunting for something, and she's across the table from him. One of the best useful tools. And remember, sometimes the guy who does this uses a guy with the guy. What does that tell you?
Yeah. Mark, you got to call in more. You got to call in more often.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I got to get out of here because we're doing this. I've got only a little bit of time, but I want to bring something else up. We have shut the border down before. The militia has shut the border down at least 3 different times successfully. You're not going to see anything in the controlled news, and you don't see anything in the supposedly the alternate media. Look up a project called Project Minuteman. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I'm giving you the floor. I'm going to go and search that right now.
Okay, now the Project Minuteman in the late 90s, was because of incursions over the border across the whole of the country. During the process of Minuteman 1, only about 600 individuals participated, and because we pre-announced and then deployed the people on the border over several miles of area and also mobile locations in Arizona and Texas. For 30 days, we shut down 100% of the illegal alien flow.
And this was in a time, and obviously you did not have drones, you didn't have any big-time tech on your side.
No, this was just putting boots on the ground, but pre-announcing. And what it is we put boots on the ground at the critical crossing points so that the Border Patrol and Department of the Interior could respond upon request. But here's the thing. For 30 days, we successfully shut down the border. So we decided to plan for Minuteman 2. Now, here's the thing. You would think that this is newsworthy. We had over 4,000 participants. We shut down hundreds of miles. We had 9 aircraft in the air that were privately owned. We performed 24-hour surveillance of the border. The effectiveness of our limited action for another 30 days shut down 100% of the illegal border crossing activity. One of the reasons is, and this is with Cessnas and privately owned aircraft. Now imagine with drones what you could do right now, and they could, but they won't. You could see 8 miles in Mexico, and we were using both thermal and night vision because it was available. We privately purchased it. We were able to see in advance the infiltration as it was progressing, call the Border Patrol to the location that they were trying to incur, and pre-deployed the Border Patrol to the point where they stopped far in advance of trying to cross the border. So don't tell me it can't be done. And we did it with budget bargain basement. We did it with volunteers. Grandmas and grandpas came. They deployed all up about every 150 yards. We had pairs of individuals who were camped out on the border. These weren't muscle-bound Arnold Schwarzeneggers. These were regular Americans.
And speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I see here April 28th, 2005, then California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger praised the Minuteman Project during an interview on the John and Ken show in Los Angeles, saying that the group has been doing a terrific job. He reiterated his supportive comments the following day by stating that the Minutemen would be welcome to patrol the border between California and Mexico.
Yep. As a matter of fact, Minuteman 2 had operative units in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas.
And you were out there with them?
And I helped with coordinating and moving material support. What my mission was to get as much technical equipment as we could together. And so what we did is we transferred night vision, thermal technology, aviation fuel, and deployed everybody accordingly. We're able to deploy them, but also keep them in place. We also took into consideration opposition, clandestine activities. So there was 24-hour security on the aircraft, so there was no sabotage. We maintained total control over our supply and support, and we were able to sustain and feed all of those people for 30 days with no cost to the government.
So, see, this is what I'm talking
about. Think about that.
Oh, yeah, especially when...
Yeah, this is what they...
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It just makes me think about the bloated budgets, the $3 trillion at a clip, the $2.9 trillion in tax revenue that is just squandered and invested. I don't know. It's just incredible what's done with a little bit of patriotism and coordination.
And the important thing here too is that again, it was regular working people. Although a lot of people were prior service, some of the people were retired police, but a lot of them were grandmas and grandpas. Here's the thing: you've got millions of people that are retired, and many are patriots. And what they did is they were listening to the right alternate communication. And by the way, at that time, I built Republic Radio International in the early 90s. All of internet radio is based upon what we did in 1992 to 93. And what you use right now, we fabricated. We actually created it from scratch. Originally part of an idea they had with what was called ARPANET before you had internet. Well, radio and signal communications of this type, the DoD had the ability to do, but the peasants' population didn't. We took off-the-shelf Pentium processor under table computers, hooked everybody up, and created an entire integrated mechanism around the country that now everybody uses. And it was Republic Radio International and also Eagle Radio Network out of Vermont.
And what kind of What would you syndicate across that network? Would there be talk shows?
Oh, we were the Patriot Broadcasting. And everybody sits on somebody else's shoulders. Originally, Sun Radio Network was the first, but we did internet broadcasting. I created Alex Jones.
You created Alex Jones?
You're going to go, what?
Yeah,
I created Alex Jones.
You worked with him one-on-one in the beginning?
I gave him the ability to be able to broadcast. He was kicked off public access in the early 90s, and one of our allies in Texas said, hey, there's this young guy down there. How about we help him out? So we gave him access to at that time I was running internet radio, satellite, 3 different satellites, shortwave, which is still big. Shortwave you guys should all be hooking into, because shortwave, in the event all of this dies, you have to have a way that you can hear without a third party interfering.
I'm trying. I need money. That's that's the whole thing, because I don't have any technology to do it myself, so I'd have to try to buy time somewhere. So that's definitely something I want to do this year. Yeah. But
the big thing here again is that we had the ability. We actually were running 24/7 at a given point. We were doing 24-hour nonstop radio. I still do radio. I've done radio for 30 years. If you look up Mark Kornke, Kornke.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nobody's supposed to. I was kicked off X first.
I see it. American radio. So this is who I'm talking to, huh?
I was kicked off Twitter first. You know what? I tried to go back to X, and I was blocked from coming. I was on X for 1 hour. My name was identified,
Dude,
I'm sure, and then after that, I was kicked back off.
You've got your own Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I've got. Well,
hold on. Wait.
more.
Wait. I got to read this. Mark Kornke, known as Mark from Michigan, is an American militia activist and shortwave radio broadcaster. As an early proponent of the black helicopters conspiracy theory, that's the first. Alex Jones was the first one I ever heard talking about black helicopters conspiracy. Also.
And Alex got it from me.
Okay, so there you go. Let's see. He was largely responsible. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay. It's fun.
I know. I'm just reading. I'm sorry. I'm reading your bio to you. In appearances on Tom Valentine's radio show and speeches where he's widely circulated in video cassette. Wow. I love those days. I wish I was a little bit more conscious of them. He was the host of his own radio show, The Intelligence Report, on WWCR until the station indefinitely suspended his broadcast. Shortly before his suspension, he had suggested that authorities were setting up Timothy McVeigh for assassination. And during this time, he was interviewed by Sam Donaldson. Wow, man. Geez. How long have you been listening to this show?
Oh, I've been on and off. I catch your program every so many days. It's whenever I have time.
Wow.
I'm doing other things. I got 4 things going on, but I'm listening to your program right now. So, everything's shut off. So, obviously, we don't make an echo.
You have this is a very impressive page. I'm going to have to read through this. I'm bookmarking it, no doubt. And we have to talk again, Mark.
Well, the fun thing is, everything you saw them do to Trump.
Yeah.
We always laugh because that's what they did. That's what they did to me. Seriously, most of what you're reading is a fiction. As far as any of the government nonsense, I worked as an intel analyst. I was school trained. Most intel analysts are not. I graduated in '78, 13th out of a class of 33, second highest course to graduate, group team to graduate from U6. And our group was in high demand. Actually, most everybody went somewhere unique, and did a lot of other fun things. I didn't really plan on even going into intelligence years ago.
Well, what's this
but
here? Hold
there's
on.
a bunch of.
Yeah, well, I see that you did a stint in prison for getting into a scuffle with police.
Oh, that would be a story unto itself, which if you look around, you'll see some of the other background on that, and you'll realize that's not it. No, it wasn't a scuffle with police. It was a planned effort.
Well, you know what? It
was an ambush. It didn't work, or I would be dead. Let's put it that way.
All right, so then hold on.
If it had gone the way it was supposed to, I wouldn't have been here.
I know that you've already told me a couple of times that you have to skedaddle, so I don't want to keep throwing things at you. We have to talk again. Because I want to know, I just want to just learn more about that time in the early '90s and all that stuff. Did you know Bill Cooper?
All of them. We all were associated with each other.
Oh, see,
Bill didn't like me necessarily. It's interesting. He had epiphanies. Everybody has had their different epiphanies. Just think about it that way. You always see conflict, or you see politics between different elements. And it's interesting that everybody had their niche. Everybody did their part. What's interesting is we beat the living shit out of them through the whole of the 90s. We stopped, just a real quick note, we stopped what was originally going to be Heartland, and eventually was called Heartland Security 3 times from being created. Everybody says, you can't do anything, they're all powerful. Now, the third time, you know how they did it? They created 9/11. And then all of a sudden, we had a national police force that was a mimic of the interior police of the KGB. But we stopped that 3 times in Congress through the efforts of the Patriot movement. So, guys, we've had tremendous successes. We've had many successes. You'll notice something about present historical references as they try to shut off before Y2K. The reason is because the 90s, for all the conflict, we became very close to a civil war. In fact, 1995... we were a breath away from ground fighting inside the United States, which nobody wants to talk about because it doesn't fit with the narrative. We were a breath away. In fact, in some ways, people argue we should have just done it. We'd have been over with it, and we'd have been very different than in the aughts as opposed to what you saw.
Well, I remember in the 90s, what little I was in 95, I'm 10 years old, but I do remember there was a lot of militia activity that was building in the 90s that I would love to have a little bit more background on. So we're going to have to do Mark, you're a very interesting guy, and I know we've only known each other for about 5 minutes, but we should do 5 minutes more soon. And if you can, email the show, quitefranklypodcast@gmail.com, so we have a line of communication open.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you, I don't care if anybody has my email. It's out there. liberty@provide.net.
All right. Well, the reason why I was giving it to you is because I'm going to be live for a little while long. Maybe I can write it down.
You just keep doing work. No, you keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then anyway, we'll talk. We'll talk afterwards. I promise.
Okay. Thank you. God bless. Take
care, Mark from Michigan. Wow. There was a talk about open lines. Don't knock open lines, ladies and gentlemen. It's don't knock open lines. All right. Let's take a really quick intermission. When we come back, we're going to take more of your calls and do a couple other interesting things. All right. BRB.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
Presentation that are ongoing. I wanted to, my goal was to have it all done by the first week in January, but you know what? We're a small operation, and I think we're doing quality work, even if the pace is a little bit slower. But the more and more you guys sign on as sponsors, the easier it is to find a help to just fill in the gaps or to expand the role of people who are already here. It's just, Anyway, John Volt says, "Hey, Frank, do you watch Rick Beto on YouTube?" No, I don't. He was a producer for Shinedown. Wait. I don't. But I think my brother has spoken about him. He may know my brother. I don't know. He was a producer for Shinedown, and I think he helped with Son of Sam. Try to stay warm through the cold snap of next week. Yeah, I'm going to try to. I love Son of Sam. It's such a great song. And I would love to actually produce a Quite Frankly style music video for the entire thing one day, because the lyrics are fantastic. You ever listen to the lyrics of Shinedown, Son of Sam lyrics? I mean, think about it. I know you only get a little bit of it when you listen to the show, but paint it black and white if you like. The story's still the same. A generation built on a lie that every one of us is sane. Paint it black and white if you like. If it keeps you sane, the world just ain't right. So tell me who's to blame, and I will catch you, but you might break the fall. I love that. I'll catch you, but you might be the one to break the fall. And then, goddamn, I might be the son of Sam, the only child of a holy man. I stand alone for all to see, because they ain't seen a war like me. Burning buildings from above, send their best and send their love. Turn away, goodbye, good night. Go to sleep, now don't you cry. Are you afraid your life means less? Are you concerned you might be next? It's much too soon for me to tell if you're in heaven or in hell. And then finally, the end is great. Then you have the middle interlude. That's why I was assessing the intro, and I was assessing the intro, the song, if I still wanted it to be a theme. And as I'm listening to it, I said, absolutely. This still rocks with me. Maybe one day I can get Anthony to do hey, can you give me a jazzier version for this for a certain month or a spooky, he recreates songs in all types of styles out there. So maybe we can do some special edition stuff. But I still very much in love with the song, and I think it's appropriate. So, all right, there is that. We did our little, and with the caller from Michigan, Mark, very, very astute in talking about the types of people that are in Washington, D.C., especially in those inner circles, the K Street types and everything, intelligence, the yes men. That is definitely something that jives, no doubt. No doubt. All right, over on Rumble, we've got a Rumble ranter or two. Let's see here. Jay Semo says, great show last night, and tonight Mark from Michigan was excellent. You could do a whole show with him. I'd love to have him on as a guest. I mean, it's not every night that somebody calls in and you somewhere halfway through the call, you learn their name, and then you see this this Wikipedia page that is, there's 20 questions that I can generate from that Wikipedia page alone. Because you know that anything that's published on Wikipedia is probably going to be partially bullshit or slanted to one side, political, and, you could just ask it, like, for example, says that you went to prison because you beat up a cop. I want to know that story because I'm sure Wikipedia is not telling me the whole story. I don't know. We'll see. Kid Billy says, great show again, and wow, that last caller was awesome. Plenty more where that came from in 25. It's up to you guys at home, though. It really is. That's why I say step up to the plate. Call in. Be a part of it. All right. Amethyst Cat says, hi, Frank. Would you please give Sheeple Beware a shout-out for his birthday? Happy birthday, Sheeple Beware. All the best to you. C. Blanche, thank you. NX17 says, love you, Frank. Right back at you. Chatty KC is there. Tinette Booth says, from No Stud All Muffin. Thank you, both of you. Gambera, the Sentinel says, Mark from Michigan was an interesting call, bravo. In the early days of POTUS 42, the DOJ raided and killed people. Waco, Ruby Ridge, OKC. Yes, it's the 11th hour on the Second Civil War. It was the 11th hour on the Second Civil War. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I know that in the wake of Waco, Ruby Ridge, and then to a degree, Oklahoma City, the bombing there was a lot of militia movement. I didn't understand it at the time. I remember the headlines, all that stuff. And now going back in time and listening to all old Coast to Coast as we've been doing, and we're always putting that stuff up on QuiteFrankly.tv for after-hours programming and late-night programming. I never got to listen to any of that radio when I was growing up. I only started listening during lockdowns in 2020 when I was feeding Aurora by the Christmas tree light in December of 2020. Those were like the first times I ever listened to old episodes of Art Bell. Because I was like, what was this? What was that show ever like? The full experience of one of those shows ever like? Now I've listened to what has to be, I don't know, 100 episodes or more. And it's just the everyday, the unexceptional, nothing really too crazy happening episodes from 1994, 5, 6, around there, 7, that I think were the most interesting because you're just getting calls and you're just listening to time capsule conversations, whether you believe, hindsight is 20/20 now. You can see everything coming, every prediction that they have, what shook out and what was just batty. And it doesn't matter because you're just listening to people from 40 years ago. And there's a lot about society you're picking up on. And there's a lot of chatter about things getting so tight in the country with, the kind of murderous DOJ, the ATF, the FBI, all that stuff, and of course this trying to be able to suppress the militia movements that were really gaining steam. And now I'm starting to understand why. It's becoming a little bit more pronounced, at least. So that'll be great to talk to Mark one night. Let's see here. All right. It's 8:17. I want to throw this out before we end with our call. You know what? Deal with it. We'll take calls until 8:30, and then we'll do this to end. The lines are open, 914-200-0269. I will be counting our callers now. The 20th caller, not the 20th one that gets through. I have to count. I'm able to see missed calls and all that shit. You're going to get this. You're going to get a nice AM, FM bands, transistor radio, slip into your, I don't know, it might be too big for your back pocket, but it's a nice little size, and you'll like it on those nice warm summer evenings with something else going on. First call tonight is from Massachusetts, and it's Santino. How are you, King 40?
Hey, boys. Mike from Queens.
Oh my gosh! Yo, Santino, Mike from Queens.
I had to throw that at you.
He still follows me on Instagram. Every once in a while, he leaves a. I don't know.
No way.
I don't know if he watches this show, but Mike from Queens is still out there.
No way.
Yeah. Wow, that's a blast.
That's funny.
That's 20. That's 20 years ago in 2 years.
I had to give you that little throwback just to kind of like, you know what I mean?
King is talking everybody out there. He just called in with the a very famous call-in line from a guy from Queens that would call into Zadal's in New York back in 2007, 2008 when it was me, Anthony, and Mike from our bedrooms. And that was a regular caller back nearly 20 years ago now. So wow, that was a blast.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
But if I could, if you don't mind, I'd like to comment there on the little dweeb there that was spilling his guts there.
Yeah.
To the broad.
Yeah.
My comment on this is it's kind of advice to like everybody as far as the whole getting laid thing. I'm going to be very, very respectful. I'm not going to be vulgar about it.
Yes, because the children are watching you, of course.
Well, the children shouldn't be, but I'm not doing it because of children. I'm doing it just to show respect to you and your audience, as far as not being vulgar.
It's okay.
But what I'm gonna say is that, like, to this guy and to just people in general. So, like, because I saw like one dude in the chat room commented when he was doing this to this broad. He's like, "Wow, she must have been really hot." And here's the whole thing where that goes when it comes to both broads and dudes. Like, dudes, you don't have to be like a dashingly handsome dude like me. All right, I'm only kidding. No, I'm not. But you don't, all right? And the same goes for broads, all right? Because, like, if you're just confident in yourself, I've been friends with, like, really hot chicks, and they've been with these dudes, and I'm like, really? And she's just like, well, yeah, I like them. And I'm like, okay. So, dudes, the same goes for you. This guy obviously trying too hard.
Yep.
Never got laid. Oh, maybe if I spill. Dudes, trust me. This probably real. If you could be the biggest fucking dweeb, ugly motherfucker. I guarantee you, there's a super hot chick out there that will be into you. I guarantee it. You just don't gotta try so hard.
You know what you got to do? Would you be now? I know you don't really. I never seen anything you've written. You've only ever produced like videos with me. But I would love for you to have some sort of a romantic advice column for the upcoming Valentine's Day bulletin. That'd be great if people almost like wrote in for.
I could do that for you. I wouldn't mind doing that for you.
So then okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, cool.
Because a lot of people, not nowadays, I think, are more superficial than we was in the old days.
Yeah.
I think. And I think a lot of that has to do with the culture and the internet and all that stuff. And people get wrapped up in these wild fantasies. Because like I said, listen, I'm a dashingly handsome dude. And I'm a turn off for a lot of chicks. A lot of chicks don't like me. Probably because they want me deep down.
Yeah.
That's my arrogance. I'm kidding.
Even when they don't want you. Even when they don't want you, they want you.
You know what I'm talking about? Because I'm the king. I'm kidding. But all jokes aside there, people would be fucking surprised. Like I said, I've been friends with a lot of hot chicks. And I see some of the dudes they bang, and I'm like, wow, really? And they're like, yeah, I mean, They see something in him.
Right, and he didn't have to. He didn't have to brag about all the three.
And he didn't have to go over the top.
Right.
I will give you a perfect example. And this is a man who's passed away, and I don't like people who have passed away, but an old friend of mine, Brick Johnson, was not even close to being a handsome dude. And you know Brick, not personally, but you know of him and know what he looked like. And the chicks he would swing, I would be like, whoa. So it's just all about you. You just gotta be confident in yourself, motherfuckers. You don't gotta sit there selling state secrets or whatever the fuck you think you gotta do.
That's it. Yeah, you need that animal magnetism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Everybody has it. Everybody does. Just own it and be confident in it. That's all.
Nobody cares about how many 3-star generals you know, you dweeb.
No.
Right.
No.
Exactly. I get you. Hey, this is a great call.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll talk to you off air about writing a column for the Bulletin.
All right, my friend.
There you go. All right. See, you hear that? Now, with that being said, yeah, the guy might be not very good with the ladies, and he doesn't have the riz. He doesn't have that riz element out there, okay? But that doesn't mean that he's not a criminal, and he needs to be dealt with now. So, anyway, there you have it. All right. So that was, let me see, the lines are still open. It's 8:25. Let's keep going. That was King, so 1. All right, cool. 914-200-0269. Let us get at it. Let me see here. Bobby Lynn Carter. This is a tip on Rockfin. I haven't seen that in a while. Bobby Lynn says it's not that the pace is slower, it's just more thought out, and we are here for it. Love to you all. Good evening to all the Franklies and Francises. Thank you so much, Bobby. It's good to have you on. All right, David, is this you?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I am not David.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
No, that's okay. This is A from PA.
Oh, what's going on? How are you? Listen, you are, I should say, you're caller number 8, so you're close, but not too close.
Excellent. That's fantastic. I'll totally wait. That's great.
What's on your mind?
I am just psyched, dude. I don't know. I feel like this phoenix is rising within my chest. I'm psyched for this.
For what?
For the election to be over and
yes.
for us to win and right the ship, and the pendulum is totally coming back, and it's sharp and it's heavy. It's fantastic.
You know, that is it's a good way of saying it. I am excited for the election to be over, because you know what? Yeah. Until Monday at 12 noon, it's still November 5th. You're right. It's an extension of that day. So it is going to be nice for that to be finally over. The waiting that we've talked about, the layover between dates being way too much, but that'll be a relief in itself. And I tend to lean toward optimism. I have to have hope, and like I said, I'm not. That's not going to deter me from calling balls and strikes here. It's I'm just
clear.
Possibility. Live in possibility.
You're a man, though. You have to have, I have that protective mother bear thing. I don't have children, but I have a dog and I have a husband, and I would do anything for them. But as a man, I get the fact that, you're on guard. I'm on guard, too. My head's on a swivel, but this feeling inside me is just, so fire.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
No, it's
I actually, I'm sorry, I wanted to share with you that I got the mailer that came. It was the 2025 Trump mandate questionnaire, and it was very interesting.
You got a mailer? I didn't get a mailer.
Yeah, the RNC sent it out to me, and it was this, I got an alert that it was coming from my congressional district and that I had to pay attention to it. And yeah, of course they wanted money because they're politicians, but the questions it asked were fire. That like totally tells me where their administration's head is at.
This-
It was
this-
like, do you approve military force to be used to remove every single illegal and put every violent illegal behind bars in federal prison forever? It was.
But wait. This came directly from what the RNC? You said.
The address that I'm sending it back to is from the RNC, but it knew my congressional district. It must be from something that I did. But
Well,
it knew my congressional district. It was, fundraiser.
Okay. Well, listen. Hey, keep us. If you can do something, if you still have that that paper.
Pictures.
Yeah, take a picture.
Yeah,
send it to me. I won't put it on air. I'd like to take a look at the actual form that showed up.
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to send it to you. That would be great.
Well, I wish you a very, very happy celebratory Monday and hope to hear from you soon. Monday night, and thanks for the call. Monday night, ladies and gentlemen, there's really, it'd be silly to talk about anything else on Monday, the 20th. So we'll come on. I'll find some good threads with some media in there. I don't know, Vigilant Fox is always a nice place to go check. We'll take calls. So your thoughts, especially if you are going to be traveling there, if you want to call from, a restaurant or a pub or something in Washington, D.C., whatever the hell it is, that's what we're going to be doing. So any of your anticipation that's bubbling and brimming right now, well, let me know when it all boils over on Monday. I want to hear from you. Hey, would you blow me in the Rumble chat, sends a Rumble rant and says, I was going to call in, but how the hell can anyone come after Mark? You've got to get an interview with him, sir. I'm drunk. That's why I called you, sir. Well, I'm going to work on it. When I cleaned out this room and I redesigned it, the one thing I took off of the... Actually, is it in here? No. With all of our remote controls. This is the Moon's remote control. These are some of the desk lamps. This is the television. This is the swivel cam on the couch. This is the air conditioner. We won't need this for another 5 years. And this is the... I don't know what the fuck this is. But I used to have a small pad of paper in here and a pen so I could write things down. I'm gonna have to re-listen to the episode to find his email again. Okay, let's see here. 914-200-0269. That was number 8. Cool. We're making our way up to 20. The 20th call. And in the meantime, I'm going to start something else. If you don't blitz me with some calls right now, that would be great. Because then I'll just save it for tomorrow's show. And I'll give away something else there too. Because I still have to give away Jane Barlow's book. I got that down here. So there's more than enough to go around. Let's take one more. Here, hey, caller, what's going on? Who's this?
Hey, Frank, this Homegoy.
Hemp boy?
Homegoy.
Homegoy?
Homegoy.
Hey, man, what's going on? It's the first time I've heard your voice after all those chats on Pilled.
Oh, yeah. I think I called in a couple years during COVID.
Oh. Well, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm glad Mark called in. I've been a RBN listener, GCN back in the day. I used to listen to G. Gordon Liddy driving around Washington, D.C.
Would Mark be a part? I mean, obviously, I'm going to get him on the show again, and we can have the full timeline of events and kind of, relive all that for those of us who are too young to understand what's going on. But I remember, Alex Jones, GCN network. That's all. That would be Mark's doing, GCN?
He knows the GCN. I don't know what he had to do with
I'll
it.
ask him.
You can let Mark know if he's listening. I'm the one that rebroadcast their RBN went down when their webmaster quit and screwed him over.
Okay.
And I was receiving them over satellite, and so I rebroadcasted it for him. I think John Stadtmidler actually thanked me on air. I can't remember. Anyway, John Stadtmidler was a bass dude. He passed away during COVID. But listen, that guy, isn't that an act of sedition of retired generals colluding to take over a duly elected president.
Well, you see,
that guy should be arrested. His cell phone should be confiscated, and they should trace who those generals are on that goddamn cell phone and get those generals locked up.
The thing when I listen to that, and obviously we're just everyday people, and we hear that and we're like, get this guy, get him. But if you're talking from a law enforcement standpoint, you see motive, you see some sort of premeditation that's being expressed, but it's also just expressions until you can actually find a plot that's being executed or whatever. And I can talk all night about things I'd like to do and the people I know, and maybe and I could just be lying on what if again, like King was talking about, perhaps he knows a couple of generals, but perhaps he's not telling the truth about the general's willingness to do one thing or another. He's just trying to get laid, So, but the I think what really comes through in all of these sting operations is that. These are the people who largely make up these necessary institutions that have no allegiance to anything but the truth and good American this and that and the future of the country and all that stuff. And perhaps they are worthy of a little bit of a peek into their current work and everything else. Maybe there is some kind of I don't know something that is worthy of a probe or an audit or whatever. But it again, there's been far more really laid out dastardly things that have been laid out as far as things that they have committed to in the past, things that really indicate or insinuate fraud, especially when it comes to fraud of voters and during elections and lying about polling, and because that's all connected to fraudulent opportunities. Whatchamacallit, the HHS whistleblowers, Planned Parenthood. There isn't so much. It's really a question of, are there any lawmen or law institutions that are going to take those seriously? And I don't know. Sometimes a person will say a lot of interesting things when they're trying to get lucky, but damn, that's pretty scary that your spy hunters are willing to spill the beans like that.
Yeah, well, in a just world, that guy would be already locked up and being interrogated.
Yeah.
And like I say, cell phone confiscated.
You think?
Records pinged to see what generals he was talking to and lock them up because they're no longer active. In active duty military, you have an obligation. This is a threat against the Constitution that has been revealed. There must be action taken against this.
Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out, because you know what? If there is a so-called proverbial new sheriff in town, then we'll see what Akash Patel will say about this. Because every interview that he's ever given prior to whenever his confirmation date is going to be next week or in the days that to come or whatever has been very, very fiery, and he seems like he is not willing to negotiate on much, Kash Patel. And I'd have to imagine either him or between Pam Bondi, Attorney General, and FBI, who knows who assigns what to whom. But we'll see how serious they are. Hey, Homegoy, by the way.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see what Trump posted on Truth Social about Netanyahu?
Yes.
Check that out.
Yes, I did. I did.
Yeah, Netanyahu was a Philadelphia guy.
Hey, you know what? When in 2020... This is what I said. I hope that I hoped that Donald Trump's affinity for doing anything that Israel asked would at least be lessened a little bit after 2020, when Benjamin Netanyahu, who Trump had bent over backwards for, was the first foreign leader to congratulate and acknowledge Joe Biden as president. I mean, that's a lot right there.
Oh, yeah, he stabbed him in the back.
No doubt. I mean, and God knows who knows. However, yeah. I don't keep track of too many. I don't know what the actual score is here, but I remember that back in fall of 2020, saying, well, I hope that Trump remembers this for everything that he's done for that nation out there. But then again, it's one man, so maybe he's We'll see. Anyway, thanks for the call, homeboy. You were the 13th.
Yeah, thank you, man.
You were the 13th
Keep it
caller,
up.
so you got close, but no cigar. 8:38. All right. What do I do? The dreams. The dreams are not for sale. With the 13th caller, that's where we're freezing it. We'll see who wins later on. I'll count these all up. So hold off for a second. I want to throw this your way, even though it could be a good way to end the show on a Friday. But I have a lot for tomorrow anyhow. Take a listen to this. Nightmare. Your dreams are for sale, and companies are already buying. This is from studyfinds.org. Remember when sleep offered an escape from endless advertising? That era may be ending. While U.S. citizens already face up to 4,000 advertisements daily in their waking hours, research suggests that even our dreams are no longer safe from commercial messaging. A new study reveals that 54% of young Americans report experiencing dreams influenced by ads, and some companies might be doing it intentionally. The finding comes at a critical time, as the American Marketing Association had previously reported that 77% of companies surveyed in 2021 expressed intentions to experiment with dream ads by this year. That was once considered science fiction and may now be becoming reality, with major implications for consumer protection and marketing ethics. According to Media Image's newly released consumer survey focusing on Gen Z and millennials, 54% of Americans aged 18 to 35 report having experienced dreams that appeared to be influenced by advertisements or contain ad-like content. Even more striking, 61% of respondents report having such dreams within the past year, with 38% experiencing them regularly, ranging from daily occurrences to monthly episodes. Conducted by SurveyMonkey on behalf of the Media Image between January 2nd and 3rd of this year, the research included a representative sample of 1,101 American respondents aged 18 to 35. While the sample skewed slightly female, 62%, the findings are considered reflective of broader perspectives within the age group. And it shows a striking pattern. 22% of respondents experience ad-like content in their dreams between once a week to daily, while another 17% report such occurrences between once a month to every couple of months. Now, the presence of major brands in dreams appear to be particularly prevalent, with 48% of young Americans reporting encounters with well-known companies such as Coca-Cola, Apple, or McDonald's during their sleep. Harvard experts suggest that this may be due to memory reactivation during sleep, where frequent exposure to brands in daily life increase their likelihood of appearing in dreams. And you'd have to imagine that it's just the frequency that you see things is now so subliminal because they're buried all over certain pages that we're on, apps that you're on, you're clicking away from things. That's something else. Perhaps most troubling is the apparent willingness of many consumers to accept this new frontier of advertising. The survey found that 41% of respondents would be open to seeing ads in their dreams if it meant receiving discounts on products or services. Oh, 41% are absolutely whorish retards. If you give me a discount, you can infiltrate my subconscious. If you can give me a 30% discount on that Big Mac, I can't believe that. They found that 41% of respondents would be open to seeing ads in their dreams if it meant receiving discounts on products or services. This raises serious ethical questions about the commercialization of human consciousness and the potential exploitation of vulnerable mental states for marketing purposes. Good grief. Now, attached to this is something that I read. We actually have it. It's going to be in the after hours tonight. Let me see when it's going to be. When this show ends at 9 o'clock, the after hours on quitefrankly.tv goes live. John Carroll is putting that live. He's the chief engineer over there now. We have Jay Gulanello, the Functional Human Podcast, Episode 2, with his sidekick and co-host and confidant Daryl. Those two are doing their second episode in their now weekly slot on quitefrankly.tv. So when this all ends, make sure you go there. Those episodes are roughly like half hour or so. Really, really great. You're going to love it. Then we have Prime Pete. Let's see here. I'm going to publish this, but we have a Tucker Carlson interview, Patrick Lancaster inside of a Russian drone warfare command and control center, and then Prime Pete. That is the creator here. The headline of, actually it's the video title, which you can go find on YouTube if you want to skip right to it afterwards. It's called Stop Playing Call of Duty. Stop Playing COD. COD. Craziest evidence yet. Now, I play Call of Duty. I've been playing a little bit more of Black Ops 3. I'm a console player. Whenever I do play with friends, we've been going live on Twitch. There's other things I play, but it's interesting here. It's actually pretty fucking freaky, but it's not too surprising. Essentially, what's in this video, and you got to watch it. I'm not going to do it too much justice, but Activision, the company that develops Call of Duty games and other games out there, it talks about all the back end of these games and how they go into your computer, especially if you game through PC. These DLL files, these dynamic link library files, they're background files that multiple programs can go and utilize to access things like microphones, cameras in the computer, whatever it is that's necessary for gameplay. Only thing is that cameras and microphones are not necessary for gameplay. They're optional. They're not necessary. And the thing is that this guy, his name is his brand name on the internet is Branch Off Bush. He developed some sort of software that detects what DLL files are being accessed when programs are running, like Call of Duty. Anyway, in Black Ops 6, the one that just came out, what was discovered is that Activision is accessing camera software as soon as the game loads up. As soon as the game loads up, it's got it, despite there being no reason to use a camera to play. And see what the patents for the technology that were getting pulled by these guys that were trying to put this together and understand what was happening. The patents for this technology has shown that the developers were tracking. Listen to this. They're tracking, or at least it seems like this is the capability. So the real question is, would they? Because could they is solved. Would they track users' expressions and reactions during gameplay? Because it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper into the psychology of it all and also into how to make more money. Some other patents by Activision indicate that the game is accessing not only the cameras, but to compile information on the psychological state and how you're enjoying the game. But it also wants to find out whether or not you're dissatisfied, any kind of metric to find out whether or not the player is dissatisfied or satisfied or having a good time. Because, like, for example, if you rage quit, you say, "Oh, to hell with this, I'm not playing anymore." You're upset. You can't get, you're down in the rankings. You're not having any good games. The people that you're playing with are just too, they're just, they're too advanced for you or something. Well, they're taking all of these things. They're taking these physical indicators from your face and also from the results of your gameplay to adjust how the game pairs you with other players. It's matchmaking. All right? In order to create a more, I guess, equitable environment so that you have a little bit more success so that you keep playing. It's almost like how casinos manage the success that you could have at the probabilities at the slot machines, because this leads to an increase in platform microtransactions as well. The more people are playing, the more happy they are with the result. They're having a good time. They had a couple of good games. Then they start buying these tiny little cosmetic items like new skins for your guns, for your weapon, for your vehicles, for the characters that you're playing with in the games. But there's this other thing that's going on. It's nuts. And again, you can say they're trying to innovate to make it so that more people can enjoy the game and not feel like, you're just getting blown out by these people who play constantly. If you're just a casual gamer, that you just really want to make the play a little bit more equitable. You want to make matchmaking and spawning a lot easier and making more sense for people wherever the hell they are in their skill level. It's beyond that, because the other thing here is that into the patents where they went, and we'll have this, like I said, watch the video afterwards. This data collection stuff sheds light on how the game uses what they have collected to create not only better matchmaking, but they're also they're pretty much 3D rendering the users along with their gameplay data. And it's essentially being used to create bots, NPCs, that are essentially clones of you, the user. So the robots, and like I said, is it possible? Yes. Would they? That's the real question. And I guess one side can deny and the other one can say, of course they would. But the robots that could be created from all of this data that they know about you, your style of gameplay, whatever the hell it is, based on the digital representation of you. So unless you're playing with a party of people that you know, there's a good chance that you actually might be playing against some AI clones of and perhaps of yourself, if not other players. Clones who are probably trained by your computer when you're not even in the game anymore. All right? Now, this goes into everything else that we've been saying about the Internet of Things and all the devices that we use. It's not just about them kids and those video games. It's everything. Everything we tweet, that we send, every draft that we don't send, every digital interaction is logged publicly and private somewhere. And if it's not encrypted, we are contributing to the AI Borg, no doubt about it, by essentially teaching it about ourselves and our tendencies. So I don't know in how many ways we've all been inadvertently training NPCs to gradually become indistinguishable from human beings online, but it makes the most sense. And then, of course, it makes you wonder, how has that already found its way into these Optimus robots that are acting human? How many of those robots are we actively training with every digital interaction that we make? You know? By the way, I will be playing maybe some Call of Duty later on tonight on Twitch. I have PlayStation. There is no camera, so there's no threat to me at all. It's just gonna be me, Mike, who knows who else. I've had a long week. It's not over yet, but I figured maybe 20 minutes of that later on would be nice. So between advertising and dreams and how we are all maybe perhaps training the robots that are, going to be fighting in the wars of the future, that's something. All right, let's take another call. Jake, is this you?
Yeah, this is Jenny.
Jenny, how are Jenny? You are caller number 18. You are very close.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Anyway, what's on your mind?
I was going to give you my transistor radio sob story.
Oh, okay. Well, you can give me a sob. give me a quick sob story so I can take another call.
Oh, quick sob story is would take it out to the garden, but it's so old. It's probably from like this mid '60s, and the connections are so bad that it's nothing but static.
Oh, you mean the internal connections?
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad because there's nothing like a vintage radio.
Oh no, it's awesome. Hopefully it can be repaired.
All right. Well, anyway, did you enjoy the show tonight?
Oh, I love it. We watch you all the time, Frank.
Well, I thank you for everything, as always, and thank you for the correspondence, and it's always good to hear from you, Jenny.
You too. You take care.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay.
Take care.
Too.
Jenny
Bye.
was close. She was very, I think hasn't she won in the past something? All right. Next caller. Oh, here, 727. Who are you?
Hello there. This is Dee.
Dee?
Yes.
Dee, guess what? You won a transistor radio.
Get out of here.
Yes, you did.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy
I
to
was
give
trying to remember the song with transistor radio in it.
Oh, damn. I think why is this familiar now?
It's like an old 80s song or something. I don't know. But I was thinking of something that had transistor radio in it.
Guys, did somebody help me out with lyrics transistor? What? No, wait. Is it John Mellencamp? No. Hold on, wait.
Whoa.
Transistor radio. Transistor radio.
Well, when you got to play it. A clip of it.
I think that's
so great. That's so awesome. Oh my goodness, I did not expect that.
Well, I'm glad. You expect the unexpected. D, thank you so much. Hey, listen, here's what you got to do.
Thank you. You made my week.
Email me, quitefranklypodcast@gmail.com, and in the header, in the subject line, put your area code and some other stuff, and just get my attention so that we can get your address, and I'll send this out to you this week.
All right, great.
All right, D.
And have a great night.
All right,
awesome.
Is that all you want?
Love your everything.
Is that all you want to tell everybody? You're going to be the last call of the night, so you can say whatever you want to the country if you want.
Have an awesome night to all the beautiful people.
All righty, D.
The Franklies.
Take care. Wait. Is it Brown Eyed Girl?
No.
Okay, hold on. D, we're going to figure this out. D, you just email me, okay? Hold on. This is, it has to be Brown Eyed Girl. The Transistor radio's in there. I know it is. Unless you think it's something else. Van Morrison, right? Hold on. Sunlight laughing. Oh, that's good. Makes you feel good. Good sound, Van Morrison. All right. What else? I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for the support tonight. Let me make sure that I got everybody read. Yes. I've got all the super chats in, and I just want to thank you. And we gave away a nice radio tonight. I'll tell my mother. I'm sure she'll be happy. I don't know where D lives, but I'll know soon. You're about to go on a nice little trip, Transistor Radio. From my family to yours, D. All right. To end, and I don't know if this is going to get the some kind of a copyright infringement strike on YouTube or not, but we have 5 minutes left, and I want to give it over to Bob Uecker for a second, because this is one of my. First of all, I was not really old enough to have any memories of Johnny Carson. None, really. He left the air when I was still very young, and I wasn't watching that stuff. I didn't really care, but I knew he was out there. But in all the years that I started going back and watching people and binging on people and knowing what they did in the past, I can't tell you how many. I think I've watched everything that there is to watch of Bob Uecker making appearances on Johnny Carson. And he's just so awesome to listen to. Very funny, great guy, quick-witted, clear mind. And I want to leave you tonight with the old nuclear play-by-play. I think this was from 1985. I said, I have to find the nuclear play-by-play bit that he did on Carson. And then I found it. It says 1985, so it's the year I was born. So obviously I did not watch this myself, unless it was after April. And then, what use was I anyway? So here's what I got. And I'll flash it on the screen. I'll just try to confuse the censors a little bit, because I don't know. It's Tonight Show stuff, so it's only going to be a couple of minutes. But this is all over the YouTube and not from official sources. So let's just give it a shot and have ourselves a nice little laugh on the way out. We'll be seeing you tomorrow. It's Friday. Become a sponsor and enjoy all the after-hours programming on QuiteFrankly.tv.
Play.
So long, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
I'll catch you on the flip side.